Hi everyone. I wanted to take a couple minutes to give you some secretary training instead of pulling everyone off individually. I thought I'd make a video to run through a couple of things that apply to everyone. So every quarter, I call you and ask, hey, can you give me the numbers for attendance or some other type of numbers? I wanted to actually let you see the quarterly report and what happens here. So you can see that we track some things manually, and I mean you and I. And some things are calculated automatically based on the inputs in LDS.org. For example, the number of people that you interview for ministering is calculated automatically through what you put in through LDS.org. So you can, if you ever wonder where those numbers come from, it comes straight automatic calculation from the reporting in the back end. The things I frequently call you for, like, hey, how many young women were at church this quarter? We put in manually. It also tells us, hey, you have a maximum of 135 young women who could be there. And again, so the way that we ask this number is, who showed up in the last month of the quarter? If they showed up one time at church, then we count them towards that number. Okay, so we track elders and high priests attending priesthood meeting. That includes those serving in primary or other callings outside of the regular elders quorum meetings. The young women, and then the Relief Society sisters who also serve in primary and young women's. So that's how those numbers are calculated, and each branch is separate of itself. So the Relief Society number is total. We have 135 possible women in our ward who could be attending church. If they attend church at all in any function, we count them towards the numbers, right? So all primary teachers who are sisters are obviously attending church and fulfilling their callings and doing their thing. Young single adults are also on here. And what else do we track? Young men attending priesthood meetings, young women attending Sunday school, children ages 3 through 11 attending primary. So notice that none of the adults are in the primary section. They are counted in their larger group. So that is the quarterly report summary, and how we calculate those and why I call you for those numbers and so forth. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is if you come up to applications and then you can hit send a message. This is a really useful feature. So if you ever wanted to say, hey, I want to email all the young women about the activity on Monday night, you come in and you can select everyone who has an email address, and this will respect their contact visibility. So if they have given us their phone number and their email, but they have said don't contact me, this will make sure that they're not contacted. So it's an extra safe way to send your messages, because then you're not manually keeping track of who wants to be contacted and who doesn't. When did your contact information change? This pulls straight from your LDS account. Okay, I also wanted to run over the calendar. As secretaries, you all have access to add events to the calendar. So here's what the calendar looks like. It was just skinned, so it looks a little bit different. You've got a mini map. You have the option to turn on church-wide activities or off. Then we have a lot of options. You can say, hey, what's happening at the Center Street building? What's happening at the Spanish Fork South Stake? I usually turn those off because I don't interact with those buildings at all. Then we have stake events and those calendars. Then you can each individual can have all of these or some of these turned on, right? So when you go to schedule your activity, let's say that I'm going to add something on Monday. We are going to do a primary Pinewood Derby. you will see a place for descriptions and then a place to pick calendar. So that's important because if somebody who only has primary kids might have turned off all the youth calendars, right? Or vice versa. So be careful on where you put this, because then that will determine who sees it. This is all new also. Make sure to pick the building if the activity is happening at the building and which room it's in. This is new. Add an email reminder. And you could say who put it on the calendar so they know who to call for more details. Okay, so that would be incredibly handy if all of you as secretaries logged on and said, I'm going to put in our month of activities, or I'm going to put in our quarter of activities, so that we all can see, hey, besides Pilates and Zumba, there's not much happening this week, right? Young men's, young women's, is it happening? What's the activity? Who should we talk to? When is combined this month? And so forth. With fewer announcement times in church, this is a really key to helping us get information out and even having the information ourselves as bishopric members. And that's it. That's all I wanted to go over. You have a lot of options as a member of a presidency and the secretary. You can go in and edit your callings. So if you see something wrong in a primary class, primary secretary, you can go through and set the correct teacher, set the correct classroom, or move a kid who you decided to move into a different classroom. Young men's leaders, you can go through and look at birthday lists. You can look at, you can print attendance rolls. So lots and lots of functionality is here for you as a secretary to help aid the president in getting the things done. Okay, and I appreciate you guys, and thanks for watching my quick video, and we'll see you tomorrow.